Hey everybody, welcome back. I wanted to do another photo tips video for you and your smart doll. I have Kanata here today that's going to be helping me out, and the two things that we're going to talk about first are lighting. Now in my first video I didn't really go into it a lot, but I'm going to show you something that's really important that I've been noticing a lot in some other photos and ways that you can really improve your photos by just changing the lighting a little bit. And the second thing I want to talk about is angles and the importance of using angles in your photos to make them more interesting and give them a certain aesthetic. So first, let's talk about lighting. So if we look at Kanata right now, she's totally in the light and it's really good, except that the light is directly on her, and if we move her at all, it's going to start giving her some harsher shadows because of how strong and direct the light is. So what we want to do is, while the light is nice and bright, we still want to use it, but we want to use it in an ambient way. We don't want the direct light because it gives really harsh shadows and it doesn't look very good. So the first thing I will recommend is, if you have a friend that's with you that's willing to help out, have them stand directly over the doll like this. And you can see it will give her a little bit of a shadow, but it will make the light on her a lot more even and nice. So, however, if you didn't have somebody to take a photo with you and can't come around and stand and create a shadow over your doll, the other thing that you can do if you don't have friends like me, what I meant to say was if you're like me and don't have friends, but the way it came out of my mouth in the video sounds awful. Back to the video. Is use an umbrella. So that's what I'm going to show you. This is a one-person job. Boom, there we go. So she is in the light, she's not covered. All I'm gonna do is extend the umbrella so it covers her. And then take a photo. And this is tricky, but if you don't have somebody to help you out, this is a really easy solution. So now the light is nice and even instead of it being really harsh. The harsh light can give an interesting effect, but if that's not what you're going for, it looks a lot better just to balance it out like this by putting them in shadow to use the ambient light, but not the direct light. All right. So there's a photo with direct light. And here is a photo. It blew the umbrella backwards. It still works. It still works. And there's a photo of her using just the ambient light. There we go. Using just the ambient light. And the other thing too is, you'll say, well, yeah, but it casts this big shadow around her. And so if you use the trick of zooming in, which I showed you in the photo, you won't catch so much of the shadows around her and it'll look a little bit more natural. It won't look like someone's standing directly over her casting that dark shadow, in the background of your photo. So the main takeaway is block direct light so that you still have the use of the ambient light, but none of the harsh shadows on the face or figure. And then also zoom in so that you don't see the shadows that you're casting, either with your umbrella or with a friend. So that's lighting. And really quick, just to emphasize, I'm not saying to take photos in the dark or in very low light. I'm saying it's great to take photos when there's plenty of light outside, but during the day between sunrise and sunset, you're gonna have really harsh direct light. And so that's the instance when you wanna use tricks like this. Taking pictures in low light or in the dark are totally different subject, but I will cover it eventually. So the next thing I want to talk about are angles, and angles you can use to really give a different aesthetic to your photo. Typically, because I enjoy portraits so much, I usually just shoot straight on, level with the eyes. But if you take them from above and below, you can get a different effect. With humans, if you take a photo from above, it really slims the face and gives them a more like angelic look. And if you take photos from below, it's going to elongate their legs and make them look more model-esque. So with the smart doll, we really don't have that issue either way, since their legs are gigantic and their faces are just naturally slim. But I want to show you how we can take those kinds of photos using angles. So first, from up top. With up top, the general rule is you want to stay closer to the subject. You don't want to take a photo from too far away, and I'll show you an example of that. So first, a close top-down angle on the doll. Okay, now I'll take the same top-down angle, but I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna use a trick from the previous part to keep her in the shadow. Now, especially with such a small subject, they're gonna be diminished quite a bit, but you'll see that the effect of doing top-down closer up versus farther away is very exaggerated. It's gonna look way better if you're closer up. So now let's look at the bottom up angle. And the general rule with this is that you don't wanna be too close. So it's the exact opposite. You don't wanna be too close for bottom up angles. You wanna be further back. So here's one from close. All right, and then another one from further away. And hopefully, with these two examples I'm showing you, you can see a difference, mind the stick behind them, but you can see a difference between how it looks when you're closer versus how it looks when you're farther away and maybe zoomed in a little bit more. So that's kind of angles. And again, the recap is when you have a top-down view of the doll, you want to be closer to them, whereas if you take it further away, they're going to be more diminished and the effect won't be as prominent as you want to see in the face. It won't be as emphasized. And then secondly, with the bottom up angle, you want to take that from further away and maybe zoomed in and then take it too close. Okay. So anyway, I hope those tips were helpful for you, and I hope that they help improve your smart doll photography or just doll photography in general. I want to thank Kanata for coming out and helping me with today's tutorial, and I also want to give a personal thank you to my Patreon pledges so far, and anybody who's thinking about it this week. You guys are what's going to be making these videos and content more regular and more possible. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. We will see you again soon. This week is a 2-video week, but we'll just have to see what happens next week. If there's any topics that you guys want to see covered, let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.